Hi, I'm Jubilee, also known as Native Soul. If you are returning, thank you. I'm very grateful for you, actually, because now I have 21 more people so far that I can talk to besides myself with these things. That's super exciting. And if you are new and you're just stopping by and you have not subscribed to join the tribe, that is okay. You are equally welcome here in this space. So the big question for this video is, are you going through a spiritual awakening? Most likely you are, and you have no freaking idea what the heck is going on, but that is okay. In this video, I'm just going to provide basic knowledge on what a spiritual awakening is, why it happens, and how it happens. However, I'm just gonna leave it at that for this video because there's so much to talk about with this topic, and I realize that anything that I will teach on this channel from here on out will not really make sense unless you have a basic understanding of what a spiritual awakening is. And I'm excited to talk about it. Let's get started. What is a spiritual awakening? A spiritual awakening can be defined by your soul literally wanting to break free from what you think life is. Essentially, a spiritual awakening is when one's soul is pre-programmed to live out a certain and a very specific and unique journey on planet Earth. But this programming happens before you come here. But without getting too deep into that, simply just know that a spiritual awakening is when your soul is yearning to be liberated, even when your ego is not ready for it or might not even want it. Your soul, first of all, is the deepest part of who you are. That is the seat of your emotions, your passions, your dreams. Like, that is you. That is who you are. That's your personality. On the other hand, we have the ego. A lot of the things that have to do with your ego are like money, status, your race, your age, your height, your weight, just all the things that have to do with being human. I've actually noticed that in certain ways of thinking in mainstream society, we have demonized this thing called ego. For instance, like in the Bible, they call the ego the flesh, and the flesh is like horrible, simple thing that you have to like peel off of your spirit and cast into the depths of hell. But in reality, your ego is your human self, and that is just one slither of this triune being that you and I are. And so there's no need to shame your ego or beat yourself up for having an ego. Like, you're cool, you're good, you're fine. But you also have to understand the role that the ego has to play within the spiritual awakening. Most of the time it's butting head with the soul. The soul is like, no, I have a mission. I know exactly why I'm here, what I want to do, and what reality actually is. And your ego's over here saying like, la la la, I don't really care. Give me my money. Like, I just want everybody to know that I'm important and blah, 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 blah. But the soul already knows its importance and it has nothing to prove, okay? I hope that is differentiated. So I'm gonna move into why a spiritual awakening happens. Part of my own spiritual awakening, I actually realized that we are controlled or influenced by the planets, by the stars, or what we would call the heavens. And that's why a lot of the times we feel certain ways on certain days. We might go through certain situations, through certain seasons. It's all because as above, so below, as within, so without. And this ancient teaching goes all the way back to Kemet, or ancient Egypt, with the Egyptian deity or representation of a god named Thoth. And Thoth was ahead of the wisdom and the science and judgment and art and all those things. And his Greek equivalent is Hermes. So if you know anything about Hermes, either way, Thoth and Hermes are different representations of the same concept. But the point is, the Emerald Tablets talked about this principle of as above, so below. And in Christianity, you might have heard it as on earth as it is in heaven. I don't know, I hit my knees like that. On earth as it is in heaven. And it's super cool because whatever happens in the spiritual realm, whatever happens in the heavens with the planets in the universe, it mirrors exactly what is happening here. It's like a parallel of what is going on. And because we are actually in this great awakening of transitioning from the age of Pisces, which is represented by like the little fish, which we see in Christianity. Jesus actually represents the age of Pisces, but we are actually moving away from that and going into the age of Aquarius. And there's nothing to fear, but the age of Aquarius is all about knowledge. It's about knowing. And our souls know what the freak is going on. They know exactly what is going on. So millions of people right now, as I speak, are just now, or maybe they have been, awakening to this greater truth that it is not enough to just believe in things that you can't see or that you can't prove or that you weren't there to know or see recorded. Like, now it's all about knowing, like, what is actual truth. It might be your personal truth, or you might be in search of an ultimate truth. But essentially, that's why it happens. It's because we are going through this. The whole universe is going through this transition. And so basically it's inevitable. Like, there's no need to fear it or fight it. And in a different video, I'll talk about tips on how to navigate a spiritual awakening. But essentially, that's why it happens. People know that there's something more out there. And lastly, number 3, how a spiritual awakening happens. So what I've noticed, there are actually 3 different ways a spiritual awakening can be brought upon oneself, one's soul. Number 1, it can happen through immense trauma or pain. This can be anything from somebody getting a divorce, or a close family member passing away, or they might be in an accident, or in my case, I had a 10-pound weight fracture my toe, and right before I was supposed to play my first season of college lacrosse, and then that had me go into this whole state of solitude where I start to question what is more beyond this reality, what is more beyond what I've been taught. And it is a really beautiful process. The spiritual awakening is all for our good. It's not God or the divine or demons or the devil out to get you or punish you. No, it is literally your soul awakening to purpose, awakening to what is life, what is reality, what you are. It's a very gorgeous and messy and sometimes chaotic experience. The second way that somebody can start their spiritual awakening is by gradually coming into it. For instance, one might be starting to realize that money and fame and status and really things of the ego, the things that the ego sometimes craves, are just not it. Like, it's just hitting different. Like, you're like, this is not it. There has to be more to life. And that's when you might start questioning and having these deep philosophical, existential thoughts. And that's perfectly cool. Thirdly, and lastly, a spiritual awakening can happen spontaneously. Someone can just be sitting on the couch like this, and they can be like, you know, why is the sky blue? Is it really blue? Or is it because our eyes perceive it as such, because of the vibrations that are bouncing off of light and then therefore reflecting and being translated by our brain as this energetic blue, this energy that we call blue. And what is blue? It can literally be simple as that, or it could be someone has a dream and they start to question things. Or someone might come up to them one day and ask them about their faith. Like, say if someone is Christian and they get asked, have you ever realized that the Bible is like 5,000 years old or so, and the Egyptian pyramids are way older than that, but Adam and Eve are supposedly the first human beings who built the pyramids? Like, it can literally be that. And you can be like, I don't know, the answer is Jesus, and then that's it. But then when you go back home, you run back home and you're like, wait, like, let me think about this. Like, why, what, who, where, what, how? That literally happens all the time, and that can strike somebody else's spiritual awakening. With all that being said, however your spiritual awakening has been triggered or activated or catalyzed, just know it's not something that your ego can control. It is something that your soul knows what it is doing and where it is going. But as for now, please know that there's no need to be afraid. There's no need to freak out. I am going to post a video next time about the 10 signs that you are definitely in one. That will also provide more clarity on this topic before we move on to even the bigger things about how to set yourself free from like basically anything that you want. That is possible. So if any of these things interest you, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to join the tribe. Like, I would love to even talk to you if you have any questions. Personal questions can be answered through my DMs. Follow me on Instagram at The Art of Jubilee. My Instagram page right now is kind of a hot mess, but that's because I'm trying to figure out like what I want my page to be. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, frick it, I'll just post whatever I feel like posting, even though it's not good for business, but whatever. All that being said, thank you for joining me, and I will see you all in the next video where we expand more on this topic so you can be comfortable on your journey. I appreciate you. Namaste. Peace.